There are two very important exemptions available to Texas property owners that you might qualify for. First is the homestead exemption. This exemption prevents your taxable value of your home from increasing by more than 10% per year, and it exempts $100,000 of your property's value from school taxes. This is a lot of money, so if you qualify, make sure you're receiving this exemption. Second is the overage exemption. This is available only on the homestead of property owners in Texas who are 65 years old or older. This exemption caps the actual tax dollars paid for city, school, and county taxes. Now, Brandy is going to walk you through navigating the Lubbock Central Appraisal District website to check and see if you have the homestead exemption, if you're entitled to it, and if not, how to fill out the form.
Let's walk through how to file an overage exemption and a homestead exemption on your property. Once you have your property pulled up on LCAD's website, you are going to go to the homestead exemption flag right here at the top. Click on that. That is going to bring up the application to file for your homestead exemption. You will begin by filling out the Are You Filing for a Late application. If you are filing for a previous year other than the current year you're seeking the exemption, you're going to click Yes, and then use the scroll down to choose between the last 4 years that are available. If you are No, this is the first year applying, you're just going to hit No, and then tax year will be the current year that you're applying for the exemption. Scroll down. It'll ask you, do you own the property for which you're seeking an exemption? Yes, that is going to be highlighted. This is where you're going to select which exemption you're applying for. Normally, if you're just doing the homestead exemption, you will click right here. If you're filing for an overage exemption, which means you are over the age of 65, you're going to click this right here. You can file for both of these at the same time if you're doing homestead and overage exemption. There are other options. If you're a surviving spouse of an individual who qualified for an overage exemption, you'll click that. Disability exemptions, all those will be down here below. You can select as many as you are qualified for. Down here is if you'll do the surviving spouse. If you are not doing that, you can go ahead and skip that. You will begin by where you receiving a homestead exemption on your previous residence. This is if you had a homestead on a past house and you moved and you need to move it. You will click Yes here. If you're transferring an exemption from a previous residence, you will click here as well if you're coming from somewhere else in the state or if the exemption was on a previous property. On those, you can just click Yes. Or if you're transferring a tax limitation, you'll select that as well. Most of the time, it's going to be no, unless you're coming from an out of county, and then that's where you're going to put that information right here. If you're moved from a different county and moving that exemption. The top part, most of this is going to be started by filling out for you. If you're a single, married couple, other, or if you own the property with any siblings, this is where you're going to click other right there. You're going to put your name, enter your birth date information, driver's license number, phone number, email address, and percent ownership in the property. If you are a married couple, you're going to put both owner names, and percent ownership will be 100% for each. If you own the property with a sibling or anybody else, you'll put your information and then your percent of ownership right here. That percent of ownership is going to be calculated in your homestead exemption and how much you'll be able to apply for. When you scroll down, next you're going to put in the date you purchased this property and the date you began occupying the property as your principal residence. This information is the date you bought the house and then when you moved into the property. Below it's going to keep all the address already for you. Is this applicant identified on the deed or other recorded instrument? You will put yes. If you don't have that information, you don't have to put it. They can pull this information from the courthouse, so don't feel obligated to try to go find all that paperwork. Most of the time, they have this information already. Is the property for which this application is submitted an heir property? Yes or no. And then if Do other heir property occupies the property? You're going to put yes or no. So this most of the time is like if you have a grandparent or someone that owns the property, or a parent, and the property is going to be passed down to you. You'll fill out this information. If it's a mobile home, you're going to put the manufacturer home make and model and then the ID number in this block right here. Is any portion of the property for which you're claiming a residential homestead exemption income producing? This right here. So this could be like if you own a duplex and half the side you are renting out and the other half is going to be your homestead. That would be an example of you putting yes. Majority of the time is going to be no. And then if it is yes, you'll put that percentage. So if it is a duplex and the other half, you'll put 50% right there. And then below you'll put the number of acres for which the property owns, or how many acres is on the property. That information is going to go right there. You can homestead up to 20 acres. Anything past 20 acres will just be taxed regularly without a homestead exemption. Down below is where you are going to need to attach your driver's license information. So you'll need a scanned copy or a photograph of your driver's license to attach in this block right here. Below, it's going to ask, indicate if you are exempt from the requirement to provide a copy of your driver's license or state-issued personal identification certificate. And this will be if you're exempt from including any of that information. For an age 65 or older who qualify, it's the same thing. You're going to attach any information, any deed or anything that you'll need on the property as well. And you'll put that information below. Or if it's a disability, any of that information, manufactured home, all that will choose this file. Over here, you can leave that blank unless there's specific instructions you have. Or if you own any other residential property, like so if you own a property in another county and you need that exemption transferred or any other information, you'll go ahead and put that just in the notes here. You're just going to click here that you certify that your address is matched. Make sure and review all your information. Put your email address so that they will contact you once they have that submitted. And then just sign and submit. You'll get an email notification that they have received your application, and then you'll be able to view that online whenever they have that ready. It normally takes them about 2 months to get all that information submitted. If you have any questions or not sure if you do have your homestead or overage exemption on your property, we can definitely look into that and help you out.